Alright, I'm back for part 3. I think I left off at PT, so I'll start with PT and PT standards. Um, Starting off, PT is very, very tame. The first sustained run you'll do is like 7 minutes. If you can't run 7 minutes straight without stopping, I kind of feel sorry for you, because if you had time to prepare during depth, had a couple months. Most people have a couple months. I had like a month and a half, 2 months. Some people are in there for 9 months and still don't meet the standards, which is sad. It really is sad. But going into PT, I thought we were going to swim once a week. I was told we were going to swim once a week and run a couple times and exercise like PT like 5 times a day. Not 5 times a day, 5 times a week, or 6 times a week, and not do anything on Sundays. That's a lie. You only swim to pass the swim test and the float test. So I'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's only once. If you pass it that day, you never swim again. And that's usually around week 3 or week 4. So, but PT early on, basic stuff. You do about 10 minutes of warm-ups, 10 to 15 minutes of warm-ups, and then like a sustained jog, and then a cool-down stretch period, which is like 10 minutes tops. So the entire thing takes way less than an hour, sometimes like only 45 minutes. But most of the time you're not doing anything. The warm-ups are actually harder for me than the actual PT sessions, because you're starting like with cold muscles, and then they want you to like do those movement warm-ups, high knees with punching in the air, high knees with punching to the sides, punching to the front, and that stuff is the hardest part. Skipping, if we go to the Freedom Hall has the track that you can run around, but if it's in-house PT, it's a little bit easier. But I'll talk about the track version earlier on. It's usually 2 to 3 times a week, tops. So PT is 2 to 3 times a week. You can IT every day. They'll make you IT every day except Sunday. Sometimes even on Sunday, I think. So, but IT is different. It's set apart. It's usually only a few minutes. They can get you huffing and puffing in less than a few minutes, I'm pretty sure, because 20-10 counts takes like 2 minutes tops. You're going to be pretty winded by then. But back to PT. The first few weeks, fairly tame, like I said. The first sustained run is a 7-minute jog. You do the warm-up, then do the jog. But as the warm-up goes by, they do like a 4-minute jog to warm up. So you jog for 4 minutes to help warm up, and then you do the movement warm-ups like I talked about. And then you do the 7-minute sustained run. And then you do the cool down, which is a bunch of stretches that don't actually stretch anything, and I hate it. They don't even stretch hamstrings. The calf stretches they do, they have you on your hands and feet, and you just push back on your calves, and it's supposed to stretch it, and that's lame because you have to keep your butt down. If you raise your butt up to get a better stretch, they will yell at you because that's not reg. And I don't know who came up with these stretches. The only stretch that actually worked was the quad stretch, where you lay on your belly, pull your foot to your butt, and yeah, you can pull as hard as you want, and it actually stretches a little bit. But they only hold the stretches for like 10 seconds, which is not nearly enough to do anything. But starts at 7 minutes, and then it goes to 10 the following week. Yes, the following week, and a 10-minute sustained run. Same basic deal. The warm-up's the same. Warm-up's always going to be the same, roughly. 10-minute sustained run, then a 15, then a 20. And those are fairly spread out evenly. Like, end of week 1, early week 2 is the baseline PFA. And then the following PT session is the 7-minute sustained run. For the baseline PFA, I guess I should talk about that. They run you through a warm-up as a huge group, and they take you to Freedom Hall, which has a bunch of tracks, 200-meter tracks, which is half a lap of a high school track, if you don't know what that is. They take you to Freedom Hall. They make you do some warm-ups. You don't jog to warm up, though, in Freedom Hall, which is weird because you have to run, which I wish that was different, but they take you through some minor warm-ups, and then they separate you into rows, and you have a partner across from you, and you take turns doing exercises. The first exercise is push-ups. Your partner will do push-ups while you count and rest, I guess, and then you'll switch. And you'll do push-ups, he'll count. The push-ups, you have to go to where your arms are 90 degrees, about right there. If you go any less, if anyone sees you, they'll stop you. But a lot of people did that. So do an actual push-up. Make sure your elbows are probably even with your shoulders or something like that, just to make sure you're going down far enough. Just do a push-up in front of a mirror or something, just to get a feel of it. Your partner has to get the same count as you, even though that's hard to check when they're looking over 80 people. I know a lot of people that cheated, which is sad, but I didn't cheat. It's really easy to hit the minimum standards if you spent time getting ready for it, which I suggest you do. But the push-ups and then the sit-ups or curl-ups. And for the curl-ups, you have a partner holding your feet, and you go down until your shoulder blades touch the ground, which right here is what has to touch. Nothing else has to touch. Go down, boop, pop back up. And I actually maxed out on those. Got like 102 or something. For my age group, it's the max out is 102 or 104. But I was definitely in the outstanding range. Might not have been the maximum, but it was like 1 or 2 away from it. But those are easy. Just keep your abs tight, and it'll help you spring back up. And all you got to do is touch your elbows to your thighs, anywhere between the hip bone and the knee. So the longer your arms are, the easier it's going to be, because you don't have to go up as far. I have very long arms, so I only had to go up like 4 or 5 inches to touch my thighs. Actually, probably a little bit more than that. Probably 6 inches. And you touch your thighs, go back down. Just beep, 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 beep. If you relax, it's a lot harder. So just keep your abs on slight tension. So you just pop right back up. Because if you relax, your muscles have to get set back and then go up. So I advise not relaxing. Now, I'll talk about how to get in a basic shape for PT later on. But and then after the sit-ups is the 1.5 mile run. It's on it's on that 200-meter track that's as wide as like 2 cars, like sitting side by side. So it's that much space with 80 people, or actually more than 80 people. We had like 87, I think, or 88 altogether, and not fun at all. I mean, the run itself is easy. I passed it, no problem, but I wanted to hit the outstanding mark, which I didn't. I was like 40 seconds away from the outstanding mark. I hit the very good, or the next highest one down. But for me, I'm a bigger guy, so I have to keep my speed kind of constant. But there's a lot of slow people that clump up in areas, so you have to stop and like wiggle your way around them and try to speed back up. For me, that is hard because I'm a bigger guy. It takes a lot more energy to speed back up. But if you're smaller, it'll be fine. They're supposed to make the slower people go to the outside of the track, but that's not always the case. I know we had a lot of people that didn't listen and just clumped in on the inside of the track around the corners and caught everybody up. Ugh. All right. But that's the baseline PFA, and that's the rest of the PFAs you'll take. They have the same format. Movement warm-ups, some exercises just to get your muscles warmed up, and then you start push-ups, curl-ups, and the 1.5 mile run, then a stretch down. Cool down and a stretch. Okay, back to PT. So the baseline PFA comes first, then the sustained run for 7 minutes. And a week and a half later or so, it's the 10-minute, and then a week and a half later, or a week later, it's the 15. Then a week later, it's the 20-minute sustained run, and that's usually it's on a Monday or Wednesday. The other PT sessions, it depends. Weeks 1 through 4. Yeah, 1 through 4. You'll be doing the same basic PT schedule. The sustained run and the other 2 PT sessions are usually in-house PT, which is you just do it in your barracks, and you're standing in the same place, doing the same exercises, but the skips and stuff, you just stand in place and do them. But the workout, they actually do a little circuit workout for you. It's usually variations of push-ups and variations of crunches, and then the shoulders, doing that stuff. those hurt. I mean, if you have heavy arms and you don't have full range of motion up here, if you can't lift your arms over your head and you have trouble doing that, that's going to be a hard exercise. But it was for me anyways, because I have heavier arms. I know people with light arms, just like Spider-Man. But I don't have that range of motion, so and I have bigger arms, so it's kind of tough. But the PT session itself isn't that bad. They just do push-ups to sit-ups to actually 2 rounds of some type of push-ups and sit-ups, and then they do the shoulder things. And there's like 3 versions of that. So not 3 versions, 3 rounds of that. So 2 versions of push-ups and sit-ups, and the shoulder things is 1 round, and they just run through it 2 more times. That's basically PT sessions in-house until the last 2 weeks. The last 2 weeks actually pick up a bit, and I actually enjoy the last 2 weeks. They're the only things that made me feel like I got to work out. I mean, I got to work out. I got better at push-ups, but that's the only thing I got better at. I was a fairly decent runner going into boot camp, and actually got worse as time went by because I didn't have enough time to stretch, and we can't stretch out on our own. You can't self-PT while people are watching. I mean, if you stay up at night, you can do it. But those last 2 weeks, they do circuit training at the Freedom Hall on Saturdays. The rest of the workouts are the same. They gradually go up in like the amount of time they make you do push-ups in the in-house PT, which is you start out doing a minute's worth of push-ups, do as many as you can, and then as many sit-ups as you can. And then that's the first like set of push-ups and crunches, and the rest are just variations, like doing 8 counts of something, some push-up or some sit-up. But the last 2 weeks, the circuit training, there's like 9 stations or 10 stations in all: jump ropes, rope pulls, pull-ups, dips, walking, box step-ups with weights. What else is there? Oh, there's like high knee sessions where they have like little hoops for you to put your feet in and do high knees all the way in and circle around, do it again. Then you run around the track. And is 1 station. You sprint around the track as fast as you can, do some sort of push-up or ab workout, then sprint around 1 more time. That's 1 station. So that's the circuit training. There's probably a copy of it online somewhere, especially on the Navy website. Maybe on the Navy website, but that's it for PT, I think. So if you can't pass I advise you be able to pass the original PFA, because you got 2 more chances to pass it, and that's it. And if you don't pass it that 3rd time, if your RDCs like you, they'll give you a final PFA like right before graduations at some point a few days before, and that's your last chance, or you get ASMO'd back a week or 2 until you keep getting ASMO'd back if you can't pass it. That happens for the swim test as well. If you can't pass the swim and float test, this video went a lot longer than I thought it was, and it's just about PT. If you can't pass the swim or float test, they give you ample opportunities to pass between there and graduation. You can do it go back almost every other day, as long as it fits in your schedule, to retake the swim test, the part that you don't pass, and keep retaking it. We had 2 or 3 people in our division didn't pass and couldn't pass it, so they got ASMO'd back. They had passed everything else, their inspections and stuff, but they kept getting ASMO'd back a week until they could pass the swim test. I don't know if they actually passed it or not, but that's how it works. That's PT, and I was a track and field coach before I actually joined the Navy. I was a track and field athlete at a college in Kennesaw State, so I'll probably make a video about how to get in shape, but that'll be a little bit later. What else can I say? Well, that's about it. I'll talk about the progression and your daily activities as you go through boot camp too. I mean, the monotony is going to stay the same. The same clothing folding thing is going to be a daily facet of your life. The sleep's going to be the same. Galley food's going to be the same. But toward the end, it picks up with a lot more events related to the Navy. It's great. All right. This will be the end of this one.